There was a teacher in Washington State sentenced to 24 years after getting pregnant by, I believe, a 15 or 16-year-old student. Might have been 14. She was sentenced to 24 years, but she only served 16. Service time. So 16 years, that's 192 months that she spent behind bars. Now, the average is 8 months, and we're about to find out why. Let's take just 3 of these cases that have been, well, I picked 2 of them from the news and 1 of them from someone I personally know. Brenda Griffith spent the average of 8 months. This teacher here, whose picture is on the front of this, child care worker. It says she serves 0 months. 0 month sentence. There was a 24-year-old in Washington, I believe. I'm going to have to look that up again. But she got 2 months. 2 months. And by the way, her victim was 10, and it had been going on for 3 years. That meant shit started when he was fucking 7. 2 months is what she got. So with this teacher up there in Washington State, serving 192 months, even if we take all those months together, that's 202. 202. 202 months altogether between those 4 convicted pedophiles, all women. And now when we divide that by 4, we get the average, don't we? Just a little over 4 years. They don't even get 5 years average. Now, when you consider one of them got 8 months, one of them got 0 months, and one of them got 2 months, well, that really goes to show you how many female pedophiles that you have to let get away with a slap on the wrist or less. How many female pedophiles do you have to let go with 0 months or even just 2 months? What is that going to teach a woman? You want to use this as punishment for a man who looks someone's direction. As if looking someone's direction constitutes a sexual crime. Well, apparently it does, but only for one gender. If a man glances your direction, he is a pervert that wants to rape you, apparently, right? Isn't that what you're selling? Meanwhile, you're letting perverts like Brenda Griffith get out with 8 months. That teacher in Colorado, or child care worker, getting 0 months. 0! A 24-year-old in Washington State getting 2 months. Yeah. How many more of those do we have to have in order for it to equal only 8 months? How many more of that 31-year-old being pregnant with a 13-year-old's child who got 0 months? How many of those exist? How many of those have to exist for the average to be only 8 months? The average just among these 4 shows short of 5 years, over 4 years, but that's still not 8 months. That's 3 women on this list who got extreme leniency for playing on a boy's hormones or playing on their own. If women didn't get horny, we wouldn't have female pedophiles, would we? How many of the men and women who we've gotten to hear on my channel, their first person to touched them inappropriately was a woman. For how many of these people was it their own mother? But we can't say that, can we? A woman couldn't be a predator. Us sisters got to work together, huh? We just got to work together. Us girls got to stick together. No, you don't. You can do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Which means taking a look at both sides before passing judgment. Allowing both sides to speak. Instead, look at all the efforts that were made to prevent me from being able to speak. To prevent me from being able to protect myself or defend myself against armed assailants. You look at how all they had to do was just continue harming me, and all the police had to do was continue looking away. Why do we look away from crimes committed by women? Women like my mother. Why do we turn away from the crimes committed like Wildfire by people like Terry Hicks, Candace Bondurant? Being a woman doesn't make it okay to hurt people. But we get to see that the most productive killers in American history are all women, and they're all nurses. You looking away from that doesn't make it any less true. Now, when Rihanna Ingersoll didn't want to get in trouble for beating on Amy Spencer's kids, she figured she'd just blame it on the guy, treat the guy like shit, and pull the us girls gotta stick together. Well, it's a good thing those girls didn't stick together with Rihanna Ingersoll. Because they didn't stick together with Rihanna Ingersoll, they were able to get a good foster home. A foster home they liked a lot. They even wrote a letter to the judge saying that they didn't want to go back and live with their mother. It was worth the time I spent in jail. It was. Absolutely it was. I'm glad that at least two of Amy Kalina Kingery's children, aka Amy Spencer, I'm glad at least two of her children are someplace where they feel safe. When you have to make that call as someone who has been in the system, it is scary as hell. Because you know there's a chance they might get a bad foster home, and you have to run it in your head. All right, what are the chances of them getting a foster home where they're going to be sexually abused? What are the chances of them getting a foster home where they're going to have to eat food that came from the food bank and has bugs in it? What are their chances of getting a decent foster home? And what are their chances of having anything decent here other than ending up either cutting on yourself or killing yourself or getting killed by somebody else? Yeah, that was a very dangerous situation for Amy Kalina Kingery's kids to be in. It wasn't just worth going to jail to keep them safe. I'd be willing to go to prison to keep those girls safe. Please help our predators get away, not just as children, but also as adults. People prey on whoever it's easiest to prey on. You notice that the police, when they're going to murder somebody, they try to pick somebody who they can call mentally ill. But if they're mentally ill in a house, then of course they're a victim, huh? So they try to pick people who they assume to be homeless, who on their right, and it is a homeless person. Even if it's a black homeless person, BLM doesn't give a shit. What are their names? What are their names? That's right. If they don't have a family that cares, they're just a number and statistic to you. It's time to stop blaming other poor people. And it's time for poor people to stop stepping on those below them and complaining that they're getting stepped on. Fuck you. Shit rolls downhill. But nearly all of us got a good throwing arm.